It's a Okay, welcome everybody to today's call. My name is Jackie Boyle, and I have the honour of being able to host along with my co-host, Dr. Ron Borsima Senior, on behalf of Dr. Ahrens, whilst he's away. And today's topic, we've looked at time, and what does time mean to each one of us, and how valuable is it, and why we should invest in our health in regards to what we do on a daily basis. And so we'll get started because I do want to share a presentation with you, because I really believe that it will make a lot more sense as I speak, as you can see what I'm talking about. So just let me share this with you. I hope that I actually share the correct one. No, I haven't. That's very good of me. Not. Sorry. Usually not too bad on this one, but clearly oh, here we go. Oh, there, goodness. That should be quite clear for everybody, I'm hoping. So if we start looking at time, and I do want you to sit there, as for those that are on this call and for those that watch this later on, time is something that I don't really truly believe that we all value it to how incredible valuable that it is to each and every one of us, because it's something that we can't reverse. It's something that we cannot buy. It's something that we cannot store. It's something that we really need to embrace and utilize very, very carefully, because it just does not wind backwards. So if we start looking at what is this, time never stands still. And just like evolution, from where it started many, 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 many years ago, and how evolution has evolved over that period in time, our bodies constantly evolve also on a daily basis, because change is inevitable through some of the choices that we decide to make. So we will evolve well and live longer, or live a long life with our current, I should say, live well and a long life with our current lifestyle choices. And I ask that to you, with what you are doing, do you think that you're going to live a longer life well because of the choices that you make? Because when I start looking at this particular slide here, and I've drawn in some information here through an actual website, and it's a timeline of human conditions. And why I've actually put this in here is because our world's been around for a long time. And we're all very aware of this. And it's just a few statistics here to look at and consider. So we're not, again, making any claims here, but it's creating an awareness of how long cosmically that we have been around for. The Big Bang Theory of when our actual matter, our globe actually started, which was trillions and trillions of years ago, the Milky Way, the solar system. And then we start looking into human ancestry and evolution, like the evolution of life began years and years and years ago, billions of years, 3.8 to 4 billion years ago. So we're not the first people on this earth, but there are things that are starting to be really noticeable as we do exist on this planet. And human evolution, as we see it, it did start in a certain country. I actually learnt something in regards to this, which is always nice to learn things as we do go forward, that Africa is one of the oldest countries in regards to human evolution. But the big thing is that we have been around for a long time. And I wanted to put up in here where I sourced this information from, because it's a great website to go to and have a look at, because I've only taken a little bit of a snippet from some of their statistics, because it is quite, it's interesting, it's fascinating, and it's mind-blowing to understand, the evolution of life, and even going then into the correlation between living life well, time, and this is a time evolution of why I've put this up here, because when we look at agricultural farming and settlements, even then we're looking back to when did we start cultivating raw food, and raw food that we start looking at what we're trying to get back to now, and not processed food so much. Like, we're trying to educate people into the benefits of eating raw food, because it began thousands and thousands of years ago, as you can see for yourself with these statistics. But also, interestingly enough, we start looking at the planetary management, sustainability and revolution. because there's a few things in here that we start looking at, and I start looking down the bottom part here, and that there's lots of things that are starting to change with our globe as we evolve. And if we don't make some changes ourselves, and that's through even our food choices that we have, our planet is making those changes for us. And unfortunately, if we're not smart enough to make those choices ourselves, because these statistics are only 2015 through to 2018, things are definitely altering. So then therefore it is worthy to consider changing our choices as well and what we do also. So it's a good site to go and have a look at. So the evolution of life and time, like time is so important because it really does begin in pregnancy. As we know, as the creation of a new life is God's gift to each and every family, because it's something so precious, and so are babies. And as we go through a baby's life, it all commences there in regards to what we fuel their little bodies with can make such a huge difference through into being a toddler, because their needs as they get more active become greater for them. Our children, they're still growing, so we need to be nurturing them and providing them with good lifestyle choices. Our teenagers, more than ever, their bodies are altering, and again, they're still needing, good food choices to be able to help them. And as young parents, things change. Like time becomes, a big issue for each one of these stages as we go through. There is an importance in time. As grandparents, like time changes for us there as well, because we have more of it in some aspects, but we have less of it as well. And then as we get into the elderly part of our life, time becomes a big issue again because we're running out of time. But we need to look at how can we actually create, or how can we prolong life through the food choices that we decide to make. So I do want to ask you a little question here. How do you utilize your time? Because I truly believe, and this is my personal thoughts, that my head feels like this sometimes, that there just isn't enough time to fit in the important things in life for me, like things that there's precious time, there is rest time, there's relax time, there's peace time, sleep time, play time, exercise time, recovery time, meal time, family time, social time, work time, travel time, holiday time. There's a value of time. There's past time, present time, future time, fun time, you time. There's lots of areas within what we call time. What does it mean to each and every one of you? And as male and females, we think differently, but there's one thing still in common, is that we cannot control time. But what we do with our time truly does matter. So throughout a lifetime, the brain changes more than any other part of the body. So from the moment the brain begins to develop in the third week of gestation to old age, its complex structures and functions are changing. Networks and pathways connecting and severing. Our health relies on our dietary choices. So we still start looking at the brain itself. The frontal lobes are the area of the brain responsible for executive functions such as planning, working memory, and impulse control. These are amongst the last area of the brain to mature. They may not develop fully until around 35 years of age. So, even when we look at as a teenager and we think that our job is done as a parent, when we start looking at the evolution of the human brain, we are still developing. So it's important that our nutritional choices continue to do the same as well. I love this picture. It's a duplicated photo, and it's just the importance of life and looking at it, because during the first few years of life, the brain forms more than 1 million new neural connections every second. So the size of the brain increases fourfold in the preschool period, and by the age of 6, it reaches around 90% of its adult volume. So our children are an investment in our future. So it's important that we do actually fuel their little bodies, because they rely on us as parents and as grandparents, that we take the time to ensure that they get what they need. So have a look at this little picture. Is this poor time choices on the left? And is this time management on the right? Like, it's something that I really looked at this picture and think that it speaks volume to me in time management and being time poor, because investing time in your health before your health invests all of your time isn't a shallow statement. It is a very big statement that speaks volumes. And if we do look at, good food, and we start looking at good food in regards to, general health, and looking at exercise. So healthy food choices certainly are important for optimum wellness. And staying active and maintaining a healthy level of fitness is beneficial towards wellness as well. One is certainly going to help the other. So we have looked at what the importance is on spending time in addressing and nurturing our brain health, how we can do that through our food choices. But our second area of where we look at is in our gut health. We've looked at our heart health, I should say, and exercising the heart, getting it so that it is, we're looking after our cardiovascular output, so that we're making sure that we are developing a healthy heart by food choices, but also our exercise choices. But we then look into our gut health. And at the moment for us, there's a lot of talk about the importance of gut health. It should really be one of the very first priorities that we look at, is our gut health, because it's 36 feet of that. And there's a lot of processing that has to go on. So I love this little picture because I think it represents a lot that's happening throughout the gut. Like, there's parties going on. There's somebody here with a hose that's trying to hose down a piece of pizza. How do I process that through my gut? How do I get my little bacteria in my gut system to be able to break that food down to where I might be in a happy place? And we look like we've got somebody intervening, and there's a little Pac-Man there that's trying to, again, process our food. And, we get down to another part of the bowel and the intestine and the gut itself, and there could be, something that's on fire down here maybe, and to the eventual result of where we're going to the toilet. That's the end result. But our gut health, fueling it with good food, really does matter, because you are looking at influential factors like your lifestyle, our age. Certain conditions can add to what's happening in our gut. Medications that we may be using, pregnancy and birth can have some sort of a change in our gut health. Genetic, how we're born, what is being given to us through our parents when we're created. Immune factors, geographical location can have an impact on our gut health. What we decide to fuel our body through nutrition, and non-dietary factors as well. These are all things that we need to consider looking at in regards to having a healthy gut. And one thing I do want to create a big light and shine a light down on is sugar is an area that we need, again, to look at how much that we're consuming for, and take time out to understand what is in our food, because sugar can have, what's the right word I'm looking for? Sugar can have an effect on the brain. It can have an effect on our hearts, on our gut, on our total body function, on how it actually operates efficiently. Because sugar is 8 times addictive as cocaine. And what is interesting is, while cocaine and heroin activate only one spot for pleasure in the brain, sugar lights up the brain like a pinball machine. It's like where we get the highs and we get the lows. So eat less sugar. Our food is loaded with hidden sugar. Eat less carbohydrates, because refined carbohydrates shouldn't have hidden sugar. Lessen inflammatory fuel-based foods like these. Eat more raw food, and food that can be eaten without cooking. Try and eat more of those types of foods. So eat more raw food. So, try and take the time out to be at one with Earth and be at one with Mother Nature, because change what you eat for these reasons. One meal, change one meal and it will change your hormones. Change 1 week, and how you're fueling your body, and it has the potential to change how you feel. And if we can change 1 month of what our dietary intake is and taking the time out to make different choices, then it has the ability to change how we look. And over a year, by taking time out to make these choices, it can change how long and how well we actually can live. So before we go any further, I want you to look at this. What does this picture mean to you? By taking time out to ensure that we nurture how we feel, how we fuel our body, taking time out to be at one and taking time out to be able to just relax, that we're not on that hamster wheel, that roller coaster wheel of life, because it's so important to just be at one and take time to have an hour to yourself a day. Because at one point in time, we are going to be this person that is going to be taking this stairway. Time, because the time will come for each and every one of us that we will take this walk. We will be at the head of the line as it is our turn one day. The question being is, imagine prolonging this journey by taking the time now in nurturing your health that may actually benefit you later on in life, that this walk may be, I guess, put off a little bit longer, unless an active, unfortunate nature comes along and something happens that you weren't expecting. But make the time, because it will not wait. Take brain time. And what is that? Take time out to actually, go and sit by the ocean, go and sit with nature. Just unravel your brain so that you are actually not feeling like that you're ready to explode in your brain. I'm sure all of you understand what I'm talking about in regards to that. Heart time. Heart time can be take time with your loved ones. Take time to fall in love. Take time to enjoy love. Take time to enjoy the things that make you happy, that make your heart feel warm. And gut time. Take time to fuel your gut with the food that your body really honestly needs, because like evolution, as we've gone through this presentation, evolution continues. We're just a small part in the evolution of life, but it's important what we do in that time. So as we click over time, and there's some beautiful jewels in our life through our journey through time that we can sit back and we can look at, but live every second well. Try and make time for the little things that are the most precious, like these precious stones in this clock. So take time out for you, for family, for love. Go at peace up the stairs when it's your turn, knowing that you took the time needed. And I do want to thank you for being a part of this, because as I'll stop sharing, because I want you to really just understand that this presentation was evolved around the importance of time, because it's important to take time out to fuel our body with the right food, to create an insurance that we know that we're going to live life better, that we have time to enjoy the important things in life, because what we fuel our body with is going to assist us and to support us in being able to do that better. So that walk up that stairway is going to hopefully be a lot further ahead of us instead of coming closer, because from what I'm understanding, our children are not going to live the lifespan of what we are going to have the pleasure to live on this life. But if we can educate and we can hopefully create awareness for people, this may be different. So Ron, would you like to step in and add anything to this presentation and the meaning behind the importance of time for our health and time for longevity and for life in general?
Well, being on that senior end of that whole spectrum there, there's a lot of information to unpack here. We've all heard the term, you are what you eat, and it's very, very true. And what you do younger in life will affect that length of time, unless there's an unfortunate accident. But, and that getting people to be aware of that is really what my whole life for the last 30 plus years has been, to wake people up, to let them see that you can enjoy a really healthy lifestyle if you make the right choices. If you don't, you're just going to pay the piper a long time and well, maybe not such a long time, but in not enjoy the benefits that life has. You know, we've got our 8th great grandbaby on the way come the end of the year. I am looking forward to that because I expect to spend a lot of time with that child and watching her younger or him, I don't know what it is yet, but watching the sibling respond to that and enjoy that time. You know, I remember when we had our own children, that doesn't seem so long ago, but they're now in their 50s except for one. And, you know, great grandchildren are in their teens or getting close to it already. So I enjoy life, but then I've made a choice a long time ago to start walking. I've been walking for 50 years. Don and I walk almost every day. And when we put in good time, you know, it's a time to communicate. It's time to see the birds, to see the flowers, to enjoy all the things you talked about in that presentation, Jackie. It's all there if we take that time to do it and then eat the right foods that allow us to go out there and be in that environment. Because a lot of people are sitting in nursing homes at my age and they're having, well, now people that can't even come and see them and they're waving through windows. So, you know, it's choices we make. And I think I've made some right choices along the way, and I'm hoping a lot more people will listen to what we have. And Valentis, I think, has got some amazing things to help people experience much better health for a lot longer time. And that gut health, you know, we are what we eat and what we assimilate.
You know, I think you're right there, Ron, and I'm happy if anyone else wants to unmute. We've got a little bit of time here if you want to take the time out for people, because I think it's something that we can't put a value on time. You know, we have a piece of real estate, which is our bodies. It is the most valuable piece of real estate that we have that walks this earth. And we do not know how long that we have in this evolution of time. But we can certainly make some great choices to be able to, there's health, wealth, and happiness. So there's having great health, having the wealth of good health, and being happier because you feel healthier and wealthier because you're living life better. But you've got the physical, mental, and emotional aspect of life. And if we do not take the time to nurture each one of those in the mind, body, and soul, then it has a huge impact potentially on how our body reacts. And then therefore the time that we have, that we're living life well, as opposed to possibly living life more often at the doctors or in hospital. And I'm not making any claims here either. I'm just stating that these are things potentially that can happen, that by taking time out, food preparation, you know, food preparation takes time, because our grandparents or my grandparents, they used to grow their food out of soil that was good soil. I lived on a 48,000 acre property. There were not any pesticides and things in that ground. It was good nutritional dirt. So the food that was grown out of that certainly tasted a lot different to what it does now. So what's happened? Evolution. What also has happened is that we are short on time. We're time poor. And I think that we're forced into being time poor in some ways because we don't have enough time to fit everything into each day, because we seem to be cramming so much into it because we're expected to. Our children need more, our grandchildren need more. They don't understand that the importance of being able to take time out and just sit back and take a breath, to be able to realize that nobody can sustain that pace. Like, everybody needs to be able to slow down, take time out, and look at what is really important. And one of the most important factors is how we fuel our body, because it makes a huge difference. And yes, we have some incredible a menu and a selection of products that can certainly assist us and support us without making any claims that they're going to do anything on their own. We still have to make choices by what we fuel our body with. So has anybody else got anything that they'd like to add to this? Todd? Yeah, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Jackie. I really enjoyed that call about the time, and it is a really serious thing. I know that growing up, I was the typical Aussie boy, you know, you was at the beach, you were drinking, you're out, you didn't think about what was going to happen later on in life due to what you're doing to your body. And until a wake-up call 6 years ago when I had a heart attack, and that was the 100% blockage in the LAD, which is the widowmaker of all widowmakers. That made me really think. I wanted more time. You know, like I've got 3 gorgeous daughters and I've got 4 grandchildren now. And I was laying in that ambulance thinking, this isn't going to happen. I don't want this to happen. You know, and it wasn't until that day I started looking around for something to save my life, found Valentis and the products that this is a product range. I wish I'd taken things more serious younger in life. You know, I didn't walk. I wasn't interested in exercise. When I was a young teenager, I was into sport, in football and martial arts. But as soon as I got married, your life changed. And I think, like you say, time poor, you know, it was you go to work, you go down the shop and you buy a hamburger, or you go and buy something cheap, you know, and you're putting that rubbish into your body. And it's not till I found Valentis, and especially with our new product, which is coming today, that I really started to look what I'm putting in my body. And I just say to people now, you know, just be careful. You know, we all, as you're saying, with the time, I want more time. I want to see my grandkids. I want to see my eldest granddaughter grow up, and I want to be at her wedding. That's, you know, that's just goals. And if I didn't change my lifestyle, I wouldn't be here today.
You know, Tata, I've had the pleasure of being able to get to know you more. And as we go through life, and I want to thank you for sharing that too, because it comes back to one thing again, there's been an awakening there for you.
For sure.
You know, that you've realized that you've been going along on that roller coaster of life, you know, just cruising through life, thinking that everything's okay, because we all think that we're invincible when we're younger. But unless you've had some sort of a life-changing event, or you've been educated from the very beginning that you are very aware on the importance of how we fuel our body, but also how we exercise and what the benefits are of exercise for longevity and mobility. It makes a huge difference. And again, I'm going to speak from my own personal experiences, because then I can stay compliant, is that mine's been from birth. So I've understood the importance of exercise. I've understood the importance of fueling my body, because I know what my diagnosis was from birth, and that I shouldn't be here today. And that was another diagnosis later on in life. What's changed for me? I have seeked out the benefits of natural health and well-being all of my life. My parents did it for me, and I continued on, and hence all of the areas that I have chosen to go into educate myself in, because I've seeked out the knowledge of wanting to know, how can I fuel a body that was born challenged with a lot of challenges from birth, to be able to help my body to be able to live the best life possible. And as evolution goes through as a 10-year-old, 20s, 30s, 40s, and now 50s, heading towards my 60s, a little bit away, but they're there, I've had to change again. But I'm actually living better in my 50s and my 40s and 50s, because I'm more aware, because my body is telling me I need to be more aware, because time is catching up on me, because I cannot do what I could do when I was 20 and get away with it as easily. So it's reminding me, okay, that the clock is ticking, just as that little clock up in that corner. It's constantly shifting the whole time. So we constantly need to keep on thinking about what choices that we make. So
when you were younger, I know, like I'd look at people in their 60s and I thought, crikey, they're old. I'm coming up 62 in August and I don't feel like I'm that old. You know, up here it's probably younger than, but the body certainly tells you that you can't do things that you did years ago. And that's what made me started to find, I needed to find the right fuel and the right direction. Otherwise, I just wasn't going to be here.
And I think Todd through, and I'll get Ron to finish up on this after this, is that, this presentation was designed around taking time and understanding the importance of time, but for the three hearts in our body, and that is our brain, our heart, and our gut, that, they're all connected. Our whole body's connected, but those three key areas are areas that we need to really nurture and understand the importance of taking time to do that. And there's so many facets and platforms that we can easily do that do not cost a lot of money. But in saying that, can you afford not to? That's one thing I do want you to think of. So Ron, would you like to comment and finish off this call for us today?
Well, I think what we need to do is feed all three of those, our hearts, our minds, and our guts. And I think the mind, that's something you do on your own. You do with your spouse, you do with your whoever you believe to be the creator of this universe. And I happen to believe it's God in the Bible. And so I'm putting that at my forefront. And then from there, I take everything that I receive as a gift. And I have a gift of a beautiful wife, beautiful children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, sneaking up. You say you're sneaking up on 60. I'm 2 years and a month from 80. And I feel amazing. And I listening to what you said a minute ago, Todd, about, boy, you're in your 60s already. And I remember when my dad was 40, he was old. I'm young at almost 80, comparatively speaking. But then he had a big challenge in his life with a gut. And so my whole background, my interest, my mother and my father, both gut issues, it destroyed their lives, and they had poor health just about as long as I can remember. My mother was in and out of the hospital. She died at 56. So when I was studying 30 years ago, the stuff that Ty and Sean were talking about, I'll tell you, I was all ears, because that's what I learned 30 years ago. And now we've got products that are far superior to anything I've had in my 30-year career. Volantis has got some amazing things. We need to feed our minds, feed our bodies, exercise, and love each other. I mean, just to get together like this is enjoyable. This is fellowship. We all need it, even if it's through this medium, not meeting face to face, but sort of.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. And I am going to, sorry, because I'm going to cry. It is the importance of life, and this took a lot to put this together for my own personal reasons, because life hasn't been easy, and I valued every single day of my life. And this is why, for me personally, I'm so passionate about wanting to share the benefits of good health, because it's something that is a daily struggle. It's a big struggle, a daily struggle. And I can't tell you how important that making those decisions every single second of your life matter. And this is where time certainly matters for longevity. So I am sorry, it has been something that kind of really hit home for me, going through this and going through the timeline of life, because I want to be here for longer. I want to see my grandchildren grow. I want to live my life not in a wheelchair. I want to be able to live better. And I believe through what we have here, and through the education and the friendship and the love and everything that we have, that everybody are on, that's involved in this platform, it is truly a big gift. And I hope that everybody takes from it from what they need, and that they plug into it, because the power of what people have to offer to one another in kindness, generosity, empathy, you just do not realize how many people that you have the ability to touch, and to be able to open their eyes, open their ears, and let them see things for the first time possibly, or give them an awakening that may help them towards making some choices that could make a huge difference in their life as they go forward. So I do want to thank everybody. I'm sorry for getting emotional with it, but I appreciate you all. And I thank Todd for chiming in, and for everybody else that's joined us, but no one else more than my very good friend, Dr. Ron Borsima Sr., for always being there as a massive support system for myself and no other than for Dr. Ahrens. And I will say Dr. Ahrens is very grateful that you are all supporting him, and he will be back eventually. And he certainly is in touch with what's happening as we go forward. So thank you, everybody. And if you've got any questions about this, if you watch this call later on, please go back to the person that has shared it with you, because it is a very important topic, is time and the value of time, and invest time in your health before your health invests all of your time. So I'm Jackie Boyle, and I thank you so much, each and every one of you, and I hope that you have a fabulous week. Thank you so much.